Merry meet and welcome to Thrilling Thursday here at Ariel's Corner. This is Ariel Gatoga and we are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. I am super happy to be here. We're working through the Key of Solomon. Moderating today on YouTube is the lovely Diane, and moderating on Twitch is the lovely Dre. Thank you so much, Diane. Thank you so much, Dre, and thank you to everybody for joining us today. I'm not going to belabor a lot of this Key of Solomon because it is so wordy. I want to try to get through the whole thing in a few weeks. But when I do finally end up finishing the written material that goes with it, there will be a lot more meat and heft to it for those of you that want more meat and heft. But I just don't want to alienate too many viewers that don't want to hang out with the Key of Solomon for months and months. So I'm going to try to get through this within the next, couple, 2 or 3 weeks if possible. We do have a Discord server. We do have a private Facebook group, and that's where you can go and be part of our community. We would love to have you there. You can find the links to those places in the footer of every page on our website, along with all of the other social media links. And that's at ariels-corner.com, Ariel's Corner with a hyphen.com. We have a shop at arielscornershop.com, arielscornershop.com, where we do make a small commission off of each and every sale. We have chat threads open on each of the streams today, and please avail yourself to those. If you have any questions for me, you can put them right in the chat thread, and we will get right to them before the end of the stream. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? I guess that's about it. All right, so because we got a lot to talk about today, so let's get right into it. I'm not going to get through nearly as much as I want to, but that's okay. We'll get to it eventually. If you're in a place where it is safe, appropriate, and comfortable for you, please close your eyes and begin to take some nice, long, slow, deep, relaxing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. With every inhale, feel like more light and peace are entering your body and mind. And with every exhale, feel like you're able to let go of all tension, along with anything you do not want from your body. Inhaling peace and exhaling as you let go. We picture ourselves on top of a beautiful mountain in the center of a circular grove of trees. In the center of our circle, a bonfire blazes forth, lighting us and the grove up with a sacred golden light. We recognize that this is the light of perfect love and perfect trust, and it safely and easily burns away everything that is not like itself, leaving us safe and serene. Into this sacred space, we invite the presence of our Creator. To many of us, our Creator reveals themselves to be a mother and father, a goddess and God. Into this space, we also invite the presence of our angels, our teachers, our guides. We ask that they guide us as we walk along the path, helping us to become happier, more peaceful, wiser, more magical, more powerful, and more loving people. Thank you very much. Blessed be. And I am thrilled to have you in this course on the Key of Solomon. And the Key of Solomon is a text of great importance in occult and magical practices and traditions. And I do want to encourage, as we continue through this book, to approach it with an open mind and a curious spirit, remembering that the Key of Solomon is more than just a book of spells and rituals. It's a profound guide to understanding the foundations of magic and its connection to the human psyche. And it's the source of so much magical practice in the Western magical traditions. Throughout this course, we will explore the different sections of the Key of Solomon in detail, uncovering its hidden secrets and gaining insight into the art of magic. And we'll explore its history. We already have explored its history, from its origins in ancient grimoires to its influences in modern practices. But then we want to go beyond the theory and the techniques of the magic explored in the key. We want to emphasize using those techniques for self-discovery, empowerment, and opening up different aspects of our own magical practice. We want to deeply explore all of the underlying principles of magic explored in the Key of Solomon and their connection to our practice. And this will help us to enhance our abilities, magically speaking, and to gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. So, it's important to understand that ancient grimoires hold a lot of captivating knowledge, and these grimoires can greatly enhance our modern magical practices. However, it's very important to exercise discernment, as some aspects of these texts may contain both wisdom and superstitions. So it's crucial to separate the valuable wisdom from all the fear-based and ego-driven aspects that might be apparent in those texts in order to greatly benefit from the magic within these grimoires. And this process of separating the chaff from the grain can be challenging, but it's very necessary if you're serious about magic. The Key of Solomon is a very ancient grimoire, and it's been adapted and reinterpreted countless times throughout history. When working with the Key of Solomon, there are several options. One option is to adapt all of our existing practices to align with the Renaissance era methods of this grimoire. Or we can integrate the magic from the grimoire into our current practices. So my approach involves studying and understanding each ritual and symbol's underlying principles and their energies, and incorporating them into my existing magical practice, instead of strictly adhering to the key's things like planetary hours, correspondences, and circle casting systems, which greatly differ from my own. I bring the magic of Solomon to my system of doing these things, and this adaptive approach allows me to unlock the magic of the key without feeling restricted by its methods. As modern practitioners, we have the freedom to reinterpret and to customize the practices from ancient grimoires such as the Key of Solomon to suit our own current intentions, traditions, and practices. Incorporating this ancient text into our magical practice is a personal choice that should be approached with respect and an open mind. So please be aware of the wisdom and power that this grimoire holds, but approach it with discernment. Our interpretations and adaptations of this timeless grimoire will also evolve as we grow and evolve as practitioners. The Key of Solomon offers valuable insights into the world of magic. It was written by wise and knowledgeable mages of its time, who emphasized the significance of several things, such as confession, adoration, psalmic practice, and self-purification, along with invocation and evocation. Magicians can develop their true potential and experience profound empowerment by diligently following these types of practices. But these ancient rituals not only have stood the test of time and inspired and guided those who seek mystical wisdom and spiritual growth, but for them to be as usable in our modern times, it's important that we are able to adapt them and use them in a way that is meaningful to us now. In the past, people used to have to copy grimoires manually. You would actually sit there and hand copy out of somebody else's book. In fact, I used to have to do that with my teacher. Just have to sit and copy from her book. Sometimes she'd loan me the book, but I'd have to copy it out by hand. She wouldn't allow Xeroxing or photocopying, and back then we didn't have iPhones. And it was also important to not only keep that original copy that you copied by hand, but then you were to write another copy where you would apply the magic, and then you would make it your own. This process allowed us to discover and create a personalized version of the grimoire. Completing this task required a significant amount of work and time. So don't worry about it if you don't have time to do that. But you can still adapt parts of the grimoire. such as the prayers and the confessions and the adorations and things like that, to use your own words and to rewrite them in your own language so that they're meaningful to you and you're not just reciting words out of some dusty old manuscript. I encourage you to add your own elements to this grimoire and to make it a part of your practice and to change things if you need to. For instance, I talked about this last lesson, but I want to reiterate it. The planetary hours and days, I already have a system of planetary hours and days that I use all the time. So I'm not going to go change my practice to conform to this Renaissance era practice. I also have circle casting that I already do. I'm not going to necessarily use their very complicated and convoluted methods of circle casting, which were appropriate perhaps for that day and age. I'm going to adapt them to my circle casting techniques. Now, you can do it any way you want. If you want to try to follow things by the letter and put yourself back into the Renaissance era and do it their way, you go ahead. Now, let's talk for a minute before we get into the book again about the pentacles. When using the Key of Solomon's pentacles, I assign, this is how I work it, I assign each planetary pentacle to the corresponding angel of my personal planetary magical and angelic practice. This intentional focus allows me to establish a deep connection with the archangel I'm working with while acknowledging the presence of other spirits or angels that are mentioned in the pentacles. But I consider all the names in a planetary pentacle to be working under the archangel of that planet. And I work directly with the planetary angel and let that angel work with any other spirits that might be named or involved. I don't have personal involvement with those spirits or angels. That's how I work. That's how I was taught to work with this key. So to work with the same planetary angels that I do, you can look in my basic angel magic course if you don't already know about that. But just quickly, for the moon pentacles, I work with Gabriel. For the Mars, Samael. Mercury, Raphael. Jupiter, Sakiel. Venus, Anael. Saturn, Cassiel. And Sun, Michael. We don't work with Uriel in the Key of Solomon because it is working with the 7 planetary angels of old. So we don't have Uriel in this key. It's not, Uranus was not part of the system. One more thing about simplicity and streamlining, and then we'll get to it. I don't follow complex rituals in my practice. I just don't. I don't like complex rituals. I've tried them. I've used them. I have a history of them. Everything I do is very streamlined and simplified, yet complete. For instance, when I cast a circle when I'm using the Key of Solomon magic, I use the same simplified method that I teach you in my basic angel magic course. I just start in the east and move clockwise around the circle, invoking the cherub of each quarter. I face each respective direction, either wave incense or spray some perfume, and I say, I call upon the cherub of, and then name that direction, to guard and empower the circle. And I do that at each quarter, and then I end with a silent salute to the east. I don't do all of the detailed, convoluted, complex circle casting that is mentioned in the grimoire. You may if you want to. Now, if you do desire to strictly adhere to the complex circle casting procedure outlined in the Key of Solomon, but you find it impractical due to maybe limited space, maybe the discretion that you need to have, other circumstances, whatever, rest assured that there are always creative ways that you can overcome any obstacles such as those. For instance, you could draw a diagram of the circle as mentioned in the Key of Solomon and look at it as sort of a talisman on a piece of paper. After you've drawn the talisman on the piece of paper, you could visualize it expanding and enveloping your entire surroundings until it surrounds you. Once you're done working, you could tear up that talisman and open up the magic circle that way. I, in my practice, do not include assistants or apprentices, as they are called in the grimoire. However, if you would like to involve apprentices in your rituals when you're working with this key, and you don't have access to suitable companions, you might consider creating your own apprentices by using your light body. My free astral projection course offers a whole lesson on creating your light body. So remember that you can always find creative solutions if you encounter obstacles while working with these ancient grimoires, such as the Key of Solomon. Seeking guidance from the angels or your own inner guidance can usually lead you to find personalized approaches that work best for you. Oh, right. So we're going to skim through a lot of this because there's so much in here. Now, as I always do when I'm working with ancient grimoires, I tend to rewrite the text in more modern language for myself so that I can understand it better. But many people prefer to use the text as it's written in the grimoire. And when we do finally get the printed material, I will have for you another version of this original MacGregor Mathers script. But you can find it everywhere, all over the net. You don't even have to purchase it. So we did the intro last week, and so now we're on Book 1, Preliminary Discourse. It is widely known today that Solomon... It is widely known today that Solomon possessed profound knowledge, guided by the teachings of an angel. He was obedient and submissive, gaining wisdom and other virtues. Solomon desired to preserve this knowledge for eternity, ensuring that it wouldn't be lost with his passing. As he neared the end of his life, he left a testament to his son, Rehoboam, containing all the wisdom he had acquired. The rabbis continued cultivating this knowledge and referred to this testament as the clavicle, or Key of Solomon. The testament was inscribed on bark, and the pentacles on copper plates were carefully preserved in the temple that Solomon had built. Rabbi Abugnazer translated this testament from Hebrew into Latin. He brought it to the town of Arles in Provence, where it fortuitously fell into the hands of the Archbishop of Arles. After the Jews in the city were destroyed, the Archbishop translated it from Latin into the vernacular, faithfully preserving the original meaning without making any changes or additions. Chapter 1, regarding the divine love that comes before gaining this knowledge. Solomon, the son of David and the king of Israel, stated that the foundation of our key is to have a deep reverence for God, to worship and honor him sincerely, to approach him with a contrite heart, to seek his guidance in all our endeavors, and to operate with unwavering devotion. By doing so, God will guide us on the right path. Therefore, if you desire to acquire knowledge in magical arts and sciences, it is crucial to be well prepared with the order of hours, days, and lunar positions. These elements are essential. With them, your efforts will be worthwhile. You can easily and comprehensively achieve them. You can easily and comprehensively achieve the desired effects and outcomes by diligently observing and adhering to them. Chapter 2, about the days, hours, and virtues of the planets. Preparing in advance is essential when conducting an experiment or performing an operation. Gather the necessary items such as candles and incense as described in the following chapters. Take note of the days, hours, and effects of the constellations explained in this chapter. Remember that there are 24 hours in a day and night combined. Each hour is governed by one of the 7 planets in a specific order, starting from the highest and descending to the lowest. The order of the planets is as follows: Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and the Moon. Remember that the planets have influence over the day associated with their name. For example, Saturn rules Saturday, Jupiter rules Thursday, Mars Tuesday, the Sun Sunday, Venus Friday, Mercury Wednesday, and the Moon Monday. The rule of the planets over each day begins at dawn on the day named after the corresponding planet. The following planets then govern the next hour in order. This cycle continues with the planets maintaining the same relative order. It's essential to perform each magical experiment or operation under the influence of the specific planet and usually during the corresponding hour. For instance, during the days and hours of Saturn, you can summon souls from Hades, but only those who have died a natural death. You can also work on bringing good or bad fortune to buildings, have familiar spirits attend to your sleep, have familiar spirits attend you in sleep, influence success in business, possessions, goods, seeds, and fruits to acquire knowledge, as well as bring destruction, death, hatred, and discord. During the days and hours of Jupiter, it is favorable for seeking honors, acquiring wealth, forming friendships, preserving health, and achieving desires. For Mars, experiments related to war, military, honor, courage, defeating enemies and causing ruin, slaughter, cruelty, discord, wounds, and death can be conducted. The days and hours of the Sun are beneficial for experiments concerning temporal wealth, hope, gain, fortune, divination, gaining favor with princes, dissolving hostility, and making friends. Venus days and hours are favorable for forming friendships, showing kindness and love, engaging in joyous and pleasant activities, and traveling. Mercury's days and hours enhance eloquence and intelligence, promptness in business, scientific pursuits, divination, witnessing wonders and apparitions, and receiving insights about the future. It can also be invoked for thefts, writing, deceit, and merchandise. The days and hours of the moon are auspicious for embassies, voyages, messengers, navigation, reconciliation, love, and acquiring merchandise through water transportation. To ensure success, diligently follow all the instructions in this chapter. To ensure success, diligently follow all the instructions in this chapter, as the truth of magical science depends on them. The hours of Saturn, Mars, and the Moon are equally suitable for communicating and interacting with spirits. The hours of Mercury are effective for recovering stolen items through spirit assistance. The hours of Mars help summon souls from the underworld, especially those who have died in battle. As explained later in our work, the Sun, Jupiter, and Venus hours are ideal for performing love-related, kind-hearted, and invisibility operations. Additionally, there are other similar operations covered in our work. The hours of Saturn and Mars, along with the days when the moon aligns or opposes them, are ideal for conducting experiments related to hate, conflicts, and similar operations discussed later in this work. The hours of Mercury are suitable for experiments involving games, humor, sports, and similar activities. The hours of the Sun, Jupiter, and Venus, especially on the days they govern, are suitable for unusual and unknown operations. The hours of the moon are appropriate for experiments involving recovering stolen property, experiencing nocturnal visions, summoning spirits in dreams, and preparing water-related operations. The hours of Venus are also helpful for casting lots, working with Venus-related matters, preparing powders that induce madness, and similar endeavors. To ensure the effectiveness of the operations in this art, it is crucial to perform them during the specific hours and on the corresponding days of the planets. By following the rules provided later in this work, the success of the experiments will be enhanced. Please adhere to any single condition and make sure the art is accomplished. For matters relating to the moon, such as spirit invocations, necromancy works, and the recovery of stolen property, the moon must be in a terrestrial sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. To achieve love, grace, and invisibility, the moon should be in a fiery sign, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. The moon should be in a watery sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, for hatred, discord, and destruction. For experiments of a peculiar nature that cannot be categorized, the moon should be in an Aries sign, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. If these tasks seem complicated, you can observe the moon after it aligns or is near the sun, especially when it becomes visible after emerging from the sun's rays. This is the perfect time for conducting experiments related to the construction and operation of various subjects. The period from the new moon to the full moon is suitable for performing the experiments above. During the moon's decrease or wane, it is favorable for war-related activities, disturbance, and discord. Additionally, the period when the moon is almost entirely dark is suitable for experiments involving invisibility and death. It is crucial to refrain from starting anything while the moon is in conjunction with the sun, as this is considered highly unfortunate and renders one unable to accomplish anything. It is better to wait for the moon to move away from the sun's rays and begin its increase in light before proceeding with desired tasks, while still following the instructions in this chapter. If you wish to communicate with spirits, it is best to do so on a Wednesday during the corresponding hour of Mercury, when the moon is in an Aries sign along with the sun. Find a quiet place where you can work without interruptions until the experiment is complete. Choose a time that suits you best, whether it's during the day or at night. Just remember that the day starts when the sun rises, so finish your work before the next sunrise. To effectively communicate with spirits, it is necessary to prepare for the experiments. So you should learn to construct and surround a specific circle with the circle of art for better caution and effectiveness. So that was chapter 2. And just a little note here that it actually gives you permission to use the timing as I do it, as I teach it. Whereas I don't work with any transits, like it's talking about when they're in the moon is in this sign or this planet is conjuncting that. I don't do any of that. The only thing I look at is the phase of the moon, the day of the week, and the planetary hour. That's all I focus on. And it gives you that option too. If this is too complicated, just stick with the moon phases, the days of the week, and the hours of the day is what it basically said. And that's what I do. I don't bother with transits. I don't like transits. Transit-oriented magic is really wonderful for some people. And if you like it, you should use it. But for me, it causes stress. And I don't like to be stressed when I'm working magic. It's not effective. It does reiterate what I practice, and that is to not work during the dark moon. So it's best to do your magic on all other times besides the dark moon and the eclipses. All right, well, we've gone through chapters 1 through 3, yeah? 1 and 2. So we'll start with chapter 3 next week, which has to do with constructing your circle. And if we get through that, we might get into some of the prayers and things like that. We're going to probably speed through a little bit of some of those because they're very, very wordy, and you can deal with those on your own, and you can also work with the printed material that I will be offering very soon, which gives sort of an updated version of those that I prefer to use. All right, well, thank you so much for spending some time with me today working through the Greater Key of Solomon, or the original Key of Solomon. Until next time, blessed be. Let's see if we have any questions, which we do not. Okay, well, we're making our way through this. It's a very long tome, and I think I'm going to be able to navigate it in such a way that we can get through it effectively without boring everybody to death, because I don't want to be the last person that's on this, just me and the moderators, because everybody's sick of it. But if you do love this, you can see though, right? If you look and just listen to what we're doing, at where a lot of our modern magic got its cue. So many people got what we work with in various modern magical traditions straight from this grimoire. And it's really withstood the test of time. And you'll see even more and more of that as we get farther into it, especially in book 2. You'll see where a lot of the witch tools come from in regards to the Key of Solomon. All right. Thanks so much for being here. Until next time. Oh, and thank you so much to the amazing moderators. Today we had the lovely Diane and the lovely Dre, and we will see you all next week. Blessed be.